So today, let's discuss Social Security and specifically what Vice President Kamala Harris could do if she wins the next presidency. Vice President Kamala Harris has been very vocal regarding Social Security in the past. However, just recently, we haven't heard a whole lot. Well, this goes for really all candidates as well. We haven't heard much from former President Donald Trump, even when President Biden was still campaigning. Well, we didn't hear much about Social Security from him either. But you need to understand what Vice President Kamala Harris has been asking for, especially when she was a senator about 5-6 years ago, whenever that was. So I'll address all this in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. So first off, what would a Vice President Kamala Harris presidency look like? Well, here's what we know. Vice President Kamala Harris, what will that mean for Social Security? Well, as a senator, Kamala Harris, she co-sponsored the Social Security Expansion Act of 2019, and we'll get to more on that in just a moment. She also sought a bill that would expand payroll taxes on those making more than $250,000 per year. And she also supported efforts to change how the cost of living adjustment is calculated. Again, we're going to address all that in just a moment. Now, for those that don't know what the Social Security Expansion Act of 2019 is, well, here you go. This is the Social Security Expansion Act. It says this bill increases benefits and certain taxes related to old age, survivors, and disability insurance. Okay, that's the start. It says changes to benefits include increasing the primary insurance amount for certain beneficiaries. Number 2, revising the method of calculating the cost of living adjustments. Number 3, establishing a new minimum benefit for certain low earners. And number 4, it allows certain children of retired, deceased, and disabled workers to receive benefits until age 22 if they are a full-time student. Okay? That's the start. Now, here's another one, and this is a big one. How do we change how we are taxed? Well, look at this. In the Social Security Expansion Act, changes to the taxes include increasing the net investment income tax for certain taxpayers and extending payroll taxes on wages, salaries, and self-employment earnings to income above $250,000. Under our current law, the maximum amount subject to Social Security payroll tax is $132,000 in 2019. We're actually up to, I believe, $163,000 or $167,000 as of this year. So again, it's a big difference. Now, here's what's interesting. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, they both made statements regarding Social Security. Neither one wants to cut benefits. So right there, they're both on the same page. Now here's where things are a little bit different. According to Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday, she was falsely claiming that Project 2025 blueprints call for cutting Social Security. However, that's not the case. She said that President Trump's Project 2025 ideas are seriously extreme. However, she is, and according to reports, the Harris campaign is going to, has decided to make it their campaign to brand all Trump policies as Project 2025. This is where things are going to get interesting. But she said on Tuesday, and I quote, "Can you believe they put that thing in writing? Read it. It's 900 pages. But here's the thing. When you read it, you will see Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and make working families foot the bill. They intend to end the Affordable Care Act and take us back then to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions." Okay, well, here's what we know. Okay, let's just read the facts. This is actually coming from CNN as well. Look at this right here. It says, facts first. One of Harris's claims about Project 2025 is false, while another is at least misleading. The Project 2025 document does not show that Trump intends to cut Social Security. The document barely discusses Social Security at all and does not propose cuts to the program. That's a huge one. Project 2025 is barely even touching Social Security. It barely references Social Security, which again, to some people is an issue. Why are we not addressing Social Security when we have less than 10 years before Social Security becomes insolvent? Well, let's keep reading this. It says, in addition, contrary to Harris's suggestion, Project 2025 does not call to end the Affordable Care Act or eliminate its protections for people with pre-existing conditions. The document does criticize the Affordable Care Act, especially the law's expansions of Medicaid, but makes clear it is advocating changes to the law rather than terminating the law entirely. Again, changes versus elimination. Big difference. Now, let's get into what Vice President Kamala Harris could be looking to do when it comes to Social Security. The first one is extend the payroll tax to the wealthy as well, which means currently in 2024, what is it? It's $168,000, I believe, is the current Social Security payroll tax cap. That means if you make $170,000, there's some of that income that is not taxed for Social Security. If you make $1 million, the majority of your income is not taxed for Social Security. Okay? Big difference there. Well, according to President Biden, he didn't want to raise taxes on anybody making less than $400,000 per year. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris, when she was senator, she co-sponsored a bill that would include anybody making income up to or above $250,000 would have to pay the Social Security payroll tax. Okay, so that's a big difference. Now, according to a poll back in 2022, the poll suggested eliminating the tax cap would have broad support, with 79% of Republicans and 88% of Democrats in favor of a $400,000 proposal. So if you make up to $400,000 per year, you would pay Social Security payroll tax on all of it. Okay? Big difference. Now, some people don't support that idea, but that is currently what they are discussing. Vice President Kamala Harris, again, she supported a bill that was up to $250,000 in Social Security payroll tax, which means more money would go into Social Security, which would help it become, or stay solvent past 2035. So we'll see what happens there. Another big one. You want more money? You want some additional benefits, right? A larger increase? Well, if we adjust the way the cost of living adjustment is formulated, then yes, you would get a larger increase. Right now, the cost of living adjustment is calculated on the third quarter of the previous year, but on the CPI-W, that's the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. However, what they are discussing, and this is something that Vice President Kamala Harris really wants, is to adjust that, and she wants to take into account the CPI-E. This is the Consumer Price Index for elderly consumers. The difference here is that the CPI-E is going to target specific things that elderly people spend money on, not like traveling, okay, and airline fees. It's going to discuss medical. It's going to do transportation. It's going to do shelter, food, okay, things that elderly people are likely to spend their money on. That's the difference. But if they were to go and adjust for the CPI-E, it would actually increase your benefits. So, good news there. Another big one is Vice President Kamala Harris wants to raise the primary insurance amount. This is the PIA. So this is something that they are discussing, have been discussing for several years. Whether or not this happens, I don't know. But as of right now, it is up for discussion. Okay? And it has been for several years. Another one is to increase benefits for low earners. They say that Social Security is pretty much keeping people in poverty. It's a poverty check. Well, this one article from News Nation that I was reading says benefits are primarily based on what workers made over their career, meaning lower lifetime earnings correspond to lower benefits. Yeah, simple. For those with extremely low earnings, there's a floor in place called the special minimum benefit. Okay? It says the Biden-Harris 2020 proposal called for an increase to the special minimum benefit of 5 to 50% for long-term low earners with work histories between 10 and 30 years. It says the bill Harris co-sponsored in 2019 also called for an increase to the minimum benefit, which would vary depending on how long a person was in the workforce. Okay? So, that's what is up for discussion. That's what's up for debate. Now, whether or not Vice President Kamala Harris wins the next election or not, we don't know, right? We're still about 100 days away from the November 5th election. But in the meantime, you need to know what she's pushing for. You need to know where she stands. Because again, determining where she stands on certain issues like Social Security may give you an idea of who you're going to vote for. So, that is what we know as of today. Again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.